Hello folk, welcome to Internet Animal Content. I'm your host Justin, and I claim to develop nuanced and intricate takes on animal content online, and today it's a very special episode because we might actually accomplish that. Some of you out there may be familiar with some of the big names in animal content on YouTube, but some of you may not be. And there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on in this realm, so I thought doing a tier list would let me talk about a lot of channels, and I thought it would be useful for all of us to get maybe on the same page about what sort of animal content is popular right now on YouTube. I will say that these are my opinions, so if you don't agree with anything that I say during this video, there's the door. So to figure out what channels I would put on this list, I needed to set up some parameters because not every channel that makes content about animals is necessarily a pet tuber. They had to be a channel that made content specifically about their animals that they owned or were responsible for, and they had to have more than 500,000 subscribers. They also had to be an active channel. Let's get started with a friend of the channel's, none other than Jacob Federer. His channel is almost at 1 million subscribers, so he's doing pretty good. It's been a little while since I watched some of his content, so I tuned in to see if it's changed, and it has not.
And you guys will find out why these baby lions died.
I struggle with Jacob because he does have some pretty good conservation messages in what he says.
We should all be focusing on the propagation and protecting these animals in the wild.
Given where my bar is for pet tubers, I probably wouldn't rate Jacob that badly if he didn't promote cub petting.
You want to meet baby lions, jaguars, and monkeys? We are back up and running. You want to play with some tigers, monkeys, all that great stuff.
That is a major points off. And then there's also some of the weird like thumbnails and stuff. There's just like a lack of compassion. So he's F tier. Love lion, poor baby lion. 1 like equals 100 prayers. Next up, we have a channel that a lot of people actually really like, and that is a channel called Snake Discovery. This is a channel run by a woman named Emily. She makes a lot of educational content, and she uses the animals that she owns as part of her breeding business and channel. It does seem like they are moving into a new space, so we always like that. We like improvements. That's always a good sign. Some folks don't really like some of her habitats. Again, maybe they're improving over time, so we might give her the benefit of the doubt there. Overall, I do think that most of what Snake Discovery says is better than other channels. But that said, bringing an alligator to a pet store is a dumb idea.
A brand new toy at PetSmart.
I know. It's a rescue. It's docile. She handles it a whole lot. She gets points for saying that it's not a pet at the beginning.
We would never recommend an American alligator to be a pet.
But she brings it to a pet store. Kind of makes it seem like a pet. And one of the first videos that I saw from Snake Discovery was her talking about different types of snake strikes.
And then I will be purposely letting one of my snakes bite me on the hands.
Just because it's an animal that's inflicting the wound, we're supposed to accept somebody to actively try to injure themselves, put themselves in a situation where they are going to be hurt. This is educational because it's a snake that's doing the injuring. But what if it wasn't? What if it was like any other type of injury? Today we're going to be learning about different types of knife wounds, and we're going to start with a nice clean through and through. Alright everybody, now we're going to be learning about different types of burns. We're going to start with 3rd degree. Oh fuck, ow, shit, ow. The information in this video and across her channel is not necessarily bad, but I do think that it's fair to be critical of some of the ways that it's presented to her audience. Like, she could have just worn gloves. So I'm going to put Snake Discovery in C tier. That's a pretty good grade for me, actually. I did not rip into the channel as badly as I am going to this next channel, and that's, of course, Barczyk. This guy has been a breeder in the industry for 1,000 years.
I've been bitten probably 100,000 times by snakes.
Brian reminds me of when I used to meet a lot of reptile breeders and hobbyists, and I consider people like Brian kind of like tourists.
Kind of what, in some ways, I feel like what's wrong with me, why I can't be content with one thing, right?
There are other channels that have pointed out that his habitats are pretty poorly arranged. He doesn't seem to quarantine his new arrivals. He doesn't give arboreal species any climbing space. He cohabs large solitary snakes together. He's defended breeding the spider ball python color morph.
I have personally worked for a long time to kind of get as much of the wobble out.
Which, if you don't know, the gene is attached to a neurological disorder, so any offspring born with that is born with a neurological issue.
It's an extremely slippery slope when you start choosing what mutations and what you consider is a defect.
I really don't have anything redeeming to say about Brian Barczyk, F tier. So the next couple of channels I'm going to pair together just so I can get through them a little bit quicker. And we are starting with two very similar channels, Blake's Exotic Animal Ranch and Paul Cuffaro. Just looking at Paul's content, in the past 2 months, he's posted 7 videos where he acquires new animals. So that's about once a week. And this isn't new quarantine content. This seems normal for his channel to be constantly acquiring more and more and more animals. And even if he's got extra tanks and extra time and all those things, any channel that's got that much turnover is raising a red flag for me. I watched one recent video where he went and caught some wild cichlids and then put them into his pond where he breeds all of the cichlids that he feeds to his other fish. So he took wild caught fish and introduced them to his feeders without quarantining them. He also just seems to take criticism really poorly. When another channel made a video about him, he had quite a lot to say about it.
I do like which I didn't make it
So, Paul, I'm going to put you down here. Next, Blake's Exotic Animal Ranch. I got a lot of things I could probably say about Blake's channel.
Find out the name. It's right here, this right here. It's called a Dean Cock of the Rock.
On basically all fronts, it's pretty much the same as Paul's, so I'm just gonna stick that right down here, and we can get going. Next, Zach George's Dog Training Revolution.
I'm Zach George. I train dogs.
And I'm gonna pair him with Dark Dynasty Canine S. Zach George's dog training videos are genuinely fantastic and wonderfully wholesome.
They're designed for your dog to relax and explore. And
I don't have a dog right now. I have 3 cats. But when I do get a dog, you can believe that I'm probably going to be using his training classes to train them. So he's S-class. Dark Dynasty. I don't have a problem with using your animal for personal protection. I think it's great to destigmatize pit bulls as aggressive breeds. Like, breeding with his dog probably costs thousands of dollars, and that just seems weird to me to make content about that when there are so many pit bulls out there that need to be adopted. I kind of feel this way about all breeders, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. I don't really get anything out of his videos. We don't learn how to train these behaviors ourselves. I think it's because he sells his services as a trainer, so he's not giving that away for free.
And then what actually sits behind these people, something that we would call the world government, right? In 2017, 45 million people got the flu.
Nice to hear someone so smart. Everyone thinks I'm tripping when I say this stuff to them. Hashtag New World Order.
Your dog's microchips are digital implants, spyware, dark web, 5th dimension since 1986. Ultimately, I think that he's worse than Snake Discovery, so I'm going to put him down in D tier. Now, next up, we have Rob Schneider.
Hello, Cursed Earth Pizza.
I mean, Dean Schneider.
I turned myself around and smacked her paw about 3 times to just show her where the limit is.
This guy makes a lot of videos with big cats. Yay. I honestly didn't really know anything about Dean until I started to do research for this video, and some people might not consider him a pet tuber.
And this are haters.
He sort of makes videos about animals that he is responsible for on a regular basis, so to me, he basically is an exotic pet tuber. When I found his channel, it reminded me a lot of somebody who I have followed quite a lot, and that's
my friend Kevin Richardson. Kevin is also known as the South African Lion Whisperer.
I was a big fan of this type of content for most of high school, and it wasn't until I got into college that I started to understand maybe the style of do as I say, not as I do is not the best style of education.
Aren't you making people think that they can do exactly what you're doing? They need to understand that that person's probably got a pretty good relationship with that animal.
And I do think that it's good to show big cats in a positive light, but that doesn't mean being free contact with them. In fact, I would go as far as to say that if anybody is free contact with big cats, it's not about the conservation of the species that they're really interested in. They just want the fame and clout.
You don't listen to your haters.
I'm going to put them in E tier because at least they don't actively promote cub petting. All right, next up we've got Emzotic's Lair, who mostly makes content about invertebrates and sometimes reptiles. In one video, he catches a wild snake and then feeds it before releasing it.
It's because it is very, very difficult for snakes to actually come across food in the wild.
Which doesn't make any sense. You don't need to feed a wild snake before releasing it. Most of his material just seems a little clickbaity to me. Again, I don't think that it's bad. It's just not great. So I'm going to put them on the same tier as Snake Discovery C-Class. Next. All right, now we're into our final three. And first up, we've got the King of DIY. Some of you out there may be familiar with the King of DIY as a custom aquariums specialist. What I know the King of DIY as is a self-proclaimed monarch, but also being pretty offensive to teenagers and other people on live streams.
You look like you got diabetes. She's bigger than you. I'm sorry for those that are actually offended.
It's not an apology if you say, I'm sorry that you got hurt. You're not saying, I'm sorry that I hurt you.
It was still funny.
But after saying that, a few days went by, and then he was on another live stream where he said some more stuff.
Which is
and he goes through some pretty amazing mental gymnastics while talking to these girls. In the wake of all of this, he has proceeded to copyright strike any channel that has uploaded the live stream. I don't really care if people are mean to other people, especially because my channel is about what your content means to animals. But frankly, I can't get past how big of a he's going in F tier. And that brings us to the first of our final two. And first up, we have Emzotic. Emzotic makes educational videos and she reacts to animal content, which is a stupid idea for a channel. And she definitely makes sure her audience is aware of all of the issues that are out there, except for her own.
If you'll excuse the pun.
Back in 2018, it was revealed that Emzotic had been posting on a forum about a bunch of other PetTubers. She went as far as to change up her IP address and things like that to make sure that the comments that she posted weren't linked back to her. And to Em's credit, she totally fessed up and said that she was sorry for the mistakes she had caused, but I can't show you that apology video because she took it down. The main person that she said disparaging things about was Taylor Nicole Dean. The two seem to have made up. They posted on each other's Twitters. They seem to be friendly. Em absolutely gets points for growth. But the way that she went about it, the way that she changed her IP address, the fact that she got rid of her apology, all of it just leaves me feeling a little suspicious of Em. So I'm going to put her, I think, below Snake Discovery D-Class. And last up, we have Taylor Nicole Dean. For those of you who don't know, Taylor Nicole Dean is as well-liked as Cersei Lannister. She, as far as I understand, is considered one of the most negligent PetTubers.
My crocodile skinks and my Pac-Man frog both passed away with a heating malfunction in my animal room.
And there's a lot that goes into Taylor Nicole Dean's story. She had an abusive boyfriend, there was issues with drugs, but honestly, I don't really want to talk about Taylor. There's already a lot of videos about her, and technically she shouldn't even be on this list. They also had to be an active channel. And Taylor is not. She tweeted in early September that a video was coming, and then nothing ever showed up. My whole computer crashed. Extremely embarrassed. That was on September 12th, and it is the 26th, and we still haven't seen a video. So maybe I'll talk more about Taylor when that video comes out. Maybe I won't. For now, I give Taylor the rank of nothing. And there we have it, folks. That is our ranking for this episode. I think I did pretty well. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I missed any channels that you want me to talk about. If you want to subscribe to the channel, go ahead and do so. Hopefully I will see you next time when I assassinate a witch. Bye.